Attention viewers, welcome to the SpaceBar podcast, where we come together as a group of 4 individual men and talk about topics that we deem relevant. If you don't, maybe go somewhere else. I'm Kyle.
I'm Drew.
I'm Eric.
Not at the same time. Unfortunate.
It's only our second episode.
Tell me this is our first podcast without telling me this is our first podcast.
And this is us.
Hopefully our first podcast with good audio.
Facts.
Correct.
You'll probably have to turn me down.
I also am
For
probably
what?
pretty loud. I wanted to be more loud than less loud because I could tell that you had to boost my audio when I was listening to it, and it distorted the quality, and I did not appreciate listening to myself at a boosted volume level.
Welcome to our life, Kyle. You know?
I mean, like, that was the thing, though. Like, it was such a train wreck. Because, like, when I first started editing that episode, like, at first, like, I just saw me. And then, like, I got 15 minutes in. And then I saw Eric was also clipping out. And then, you know, further down the line, I'm like, I can barely hear Kyle. And then a little bit further down, it's like, Nathan's making my ears bleed. He's peaking so hard.
I don't like that.
Which,
I just
you know.
did that. But yeah.
Maybe we can start a GoFundMe for Nathan and get him an external mic, so it helps a little bit.
Yeah. Nathan currently does not have a job.
Facts.
Very recently.
Oh yeah, tell us the story. What happened, Nathan? You don't have a job?
No.
He's just-
So it's funny that you say that because like I actually kind of like told a diet version of this story to the lady that took my Chick-fil-A order.
Not the therapy session at Chick-fil-A.
Right?
Oh, we're already talking about
it.
When they asked how you're
Some
doing
therapy.
today, they did not mean for you to unload.
For sure. They still said my pleasure though. So
They got to.
That's all that matters.
No, so essentially, ironically as well, like I've seen a lot of TikToks lately that have been like, "This is your sign to like quit your fucking job." And like as Drew is aware, prior to this, I really fucking hated my job. It was a very easy job. It was just emotionally exhausting having to walk like boomers through tech support, and then they get angry at you and yell at you, and you just have to be like, "Okay, anyways, like."
Maybe you
can I
should
help
open with what you did.
with anything else? Yeah. So what happened was I had applied for this position that I ended up getting passed over for, which is fine. Like the person they gave it to is definitely like competent. But the issue was there was 2 positions available, and they had me in like training to like essentially do the job. And they were telling me like, "Oh, we don't want to give you the other position, but we want to like keep training you for it and like keep having you do it." For like not really any pay difference, and I was just like, no, like I'm good. Like I'm not about to do that. Like if that's the case, like I'm just gonna pursue other options. And he was just like outside of the company. It's like, yeah, like outside of the company, man. And he was just like, "Well, I'm sorry you feel like you have to do that." And I was like, "No, you're like not that I feel like you're literally making me do this. Like I've been here for 4 years. Like I worked at our corporate office that like I literally left that position because that boss over there was extremely toxic." And it's like a well-known thing, which is like a super bizarre thing. Like when I got to corporate, there were people from other departments, complete strangers coming up to me and be like, "Hey, sorry, you're going to have to deal with her." And I was just like, "What? What does that mean? That's weird." Later on, I would find out exactly what that meant. And I was like, "Oh, no." So as soon as I saw my shot to like get out of there, I skedaddled. And when I, like, it's funny because like the interview that I had, this like interview that I'm having, I guess an exit interview, you could call it. When I come back, I'm talking to this same dude, and he was just like asking me why I came back, and I was just like, "Yeah, it was just really intense over there." And he's just like, he laughed and was just like, "Haha, yeah, I wish I could have told you about that, man." And I was like, "What? Why didn't you? What do you mean?
You
Like that's
definitely
awful."
could have told me about that.
Yeah, you could have, and you should have. But so jump back to this conversation, and I bring that up, and it's just like I left corporate to come here. Like I didn't leave corporate to come back and be like a customer service rep. Like I worked hard to get out of that position. I left because of a toxic situation that you're aware of. And he was just like, "Oh, I mean, and I was like, okay, yeah, whatever." So I was just like, "Yeah, man, like I'm good." And so I went outside, and at some point he was just like, "Calm down, like don't make any rash decisions." And like immediately I wanted to be like, "Calm down, what?" And just like break the table in half.
Don't you tell me to calm down.
Just throw a chair out the window. But I was just like, I want to say like I kept my cool, like I pretty much did, but I was very like, like I guess I'm doing this right now in my head kind of thing. So I was just like letting shit like rapid fire. I'm surprised I didn't start being like, and you're bald, and I hate you, and you're short, and But those are all fine things, but I just hate him specifically. Anyways,
Don't let him
I
fool
go.
you. He feels a certain way about bald people.
Short bald people specifically, in case you were wondering.
Keep your head up, short kings. All right.
Yeah, keep him literally. Keep him most of the time. So I go outside, call my brother, and I'm like, "Hey, so here's how this interview went." Like, that's frustrating. And I had already told my brother, like, if I didn't get the position, I was probably just gonna quit and like take my, just go elsewhere. Anyways, so like this happened, and I was talking to my brother about it, and I was like, I kind of want to just finish out the day, because I was getting paid like double time and a half, so I was just like, this is good money. And I was like, I'm furious, and my brother was just like, I mean, at the end of the day, though, this one specific day, not really gonna make a difference. And I was just like, that is also fair. And I was just like, and also like the idea of having to go back into my office after just like all of that happened was like infuriating. So I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I'm gonna bounce. So I go inside, go to my desk, like get the shit that I like, my immediate shit, and like my pictures of my family and shit off my walls. And I'm like walking out to the front looking for him to tell him, and he's like sitting on this like cabinet bookcase thing in like his boss's office. And like the door's open, so I knocked my head on the door, and I just stuck my head in, and like she was talking, and I just like put my hand up and was like, hey, and she stopped, looked at me weird. I looked at I probably shouldn't say his name. I looked at what's his name, and was just like, hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
SpongeBob meme.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, he was super confused. He was like, huh? And he was like you mean resign? And I was just like, yeah, yeah, man, I resigned. And so I was like, he started to like get up to like say something, but I just like turned around and like walked out to the parking lot and like got in my car. And I sat there for a second and was just like, immediately felt better. And I was like, oh, yeah, so it was this job specifically that was really bumming me out. And so that was like almost a week ago. I've just been chilling since. It's been pretty nice, not gonna lie. Eventually I'm going to cast my net back out to my job search. But yeah, that is the first time I've quit a job like that since I was like early 20s, and the last job was a forklift job. At least that was like fun. It was like go-karts kind of, just with more fumes.
Yeah, that job's super easy, but it's like extremely stressful just for the fact that he put it like, you're talking to boomers all day. Like I've had several instances where like I've had to explain what a void check is to people. Like business owners don't know what a fucking voided check is. Like it's insane.
Or the name is also like in the title.
Yeah, and it's like the amount of people that like it'll be like, I don't even know how to get that. And I'm like, well, that's wild. You're an adult. Just go to your bank and tell them you need a voided check, sir. And they're like,
honestly,
I don't know why you're mad right now. Like, you're just mad that you have to do something. Like that. A lot of them get mad that they have to participate in the troubleshooting. And like they're under, a lot of them wish that we could just like remote hack into their shit, and it's like it's not that type of equipment, man. Like we can't do that. You gotta press a couple buttons. I tell you exactly which ones to press. Yeah,
it's literally a calculator. I can process transactions. It's not like that, bro.
Honestly, as I get older, one of the things that I find most disbelieving, like disenchanting about being an adult, is like how little other people really know about the world. Like you just have you have such a vision of what it's going to be like to be older. It's almost like that Olaf scene in Frozen where you're just like, when you're older, everything will make sense, when I'm older. Right. And then, like, you get older and you just realize that it's, like, literally...
You still know the same shit.
People running around like chickens with their heads cut off, having no idea what's going on. Like, I worked in payroll, was my previous position before I got into my current position, and, like... even probably you guys don't even know what's going. Like, if I asked you to look at your paycheck and, like, point at everything on it and be like, what is this? Can you tell me what this, like, you would have no, and that baffles me. That's crazy. Like, did you have
pretty confident?
You think you could point at everything on your check and tell me what it is?
I might be able to. I look at my check a lot.
You'd be the minority.
Poor, and I want to know exactly why I'm poor.
Thank you.
Why'd you take out this $200?
Yeah.
What's this about?
Yeah, what is this? Like, I was. It's fucking government, man. Really, just
Yeah.
I deal with idiots on a daily
basis.
Awkward
silences.
As well.
I don't know. I mean, it's just
wild.
like you kind of like going off of what Kyle said. Like whenever you're like, even like when I was like 15 or 16, like you thought adults just knew. Well, no, that's when you kind of start waking up to reality. But you just think that adults have everything together, and then you like look back at your life and you're just like, oh yeah, my parents had no fucking idea what they were doing, and that's why I have all this fucking trauma, is because they were just, it was two of me's, essentially two of me's, and they were just like, yeah, we should probably hit him in the mouth whenever he says something wrong.
Or the fucking, I used to get this knuckle thing where they're like, bow, like right on the top of my head. Ooh, I don't know if that's like a specific family thing or like a Hispanic thing, but like, holy shit, does that hurt?
Yeah, my dad used to, I guess when he was like frustrated with me or I was just being a smartass, like he would just backhand my chest super quick, just put the breath of God in me. It's like,
I don't know. I have two daughters, so obviously I'm not physical with them, but you've never had kids, right? So I'm the only one with kids.
Yeah.
So far, like, just to give some context to the situation, I have two daughters. But I think if I had a son and he was older, like in double digits, yeah. I think that, like, a backhand to the chest if he does something real dumb, like,
yeah.
You haven't.
I'm not saying that's where trauma comes from.
You got to understand that, like, once you have to deal with a decade of a child, right? It hits a little different when you're on the opposite side of the equation.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, outside looking in, I don't think I want kids for that exact reason. I don't think I could stand... Because I got my job, not to go back to the job thing. It's just, you deal with so many stupid fucking people. And, like, I think I'm pretty dumb. Like, I self-loathe a lot, and I self-deprecate.
Deprecate. Self-deprecate. You're self-shitting? You shit my pants?
I do shit on myself a lot. Or give myself a lot of shit. But, like, I put myself, like, I think I'm pretty dumb. So whenever somebody comes to me with an issue or something, and I'm just like, oh, this is super simple to figure out. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what's going on. They're like, I just don't know what's going on. Then I'm just like, you're a fucking moron. I guess with a child, I could just be like somewhat reasonable, be like, oh, you've just never done this in your whole entire life. This is your first experience. Right. But
you could definitely do that the first time. But
I mean, that's how at this point, that's how I talk to my nephew. Like, my nephew's getting to that age where, like, he's aware that if I swear at him or something, like, it's never in, like, a harsh context. It's more just like words are words type of shit. But, like, if he's doing something, I'll be like, hey, you fucking idiot, or like, quit being a jackass, or some shit like that. And, like, he's usually just like, oh, whatever. But that makes me think that at my age, like, I literally just turned 28. At 28, my mom had already had, like, my brother and my sister, and then, like, my oldest brother as well. So, like, she's already a mother of 3 kids, and, like, meanwhile, I'm 28. I just quit my job because I was over it. So it's crazy. It's just like, yeah, damn, maybe I was expecting a lot in certain aspects, because oftentimes I'm just like, what am I doing?
Goddamn,
what is going on?
It's a different context, though, really, because you have to think that your parents were different than our parents, right? So you got to understand that from what I've seen on the subject is that you had no choice but to have your shit together. One of the best examples I've seen about this is you have to look at the life expectancy over the last like 150 years, because you got your grandparents were born in like the early 1900s. Like my grandma was born in like 1924.
Like probably the 1800s straight up. My dad is 70, so like my dad was born in like the 50 something, and my dad is like the.
You're mathing wrong though, because it's not like your grandparents had your parents the day they were born.
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like my dad isn't the first child. My dad is like the fucking. He has 2 older sisters, and then there were a couple kids older than them that like died in childhood or whatever.
How old were your grandparents when they died?
I don't know. My grandpa.
Getting real deep here today, boys.
I don't even know. My grandpa. Actually, I guess I could figure that out right now.
I would just be real. I would be real surprised if your grandparents were born in the 1800s.
I genuinely I'd know almost nothing about my grandparents. Like my last living grandparent died, which is my dad's dad, when I was in like 2nd grade. So the like idea of grandparents in general is like a kind of a foreign concept to me. Like I understand what they are, but I don't actively think about them ever.
It would just be crazy because my grandparents are 91 and 90, I think. 88 and 90, and they were born in like the early 20s. So
my great grandmother is 92.
They would have had to have been 100 when they died in the 2nd grade to be born in the 1800s.
I did the math. He would have been born around like 1918, somewhere in there.
Yeah, like the early 1900s. But even still before.
Which is fucking wild. To think about. He was a janitor for NASA at some point.
Just to think about like 1918 until his death, right? In 2000, we'll say. How much changed technology-wise?
Dude, I don't even.
Right? Like that's
like,
just
I wish that I would have been old enough to like, ask him that.
Like technology has changed so much since we were children, but just to see,
I honestly think
coming from basically no like modern technology, right, to computers, and I have a fucking a cell phone that's smarter than damn near Elon Musk, right? Like that's fucking insane to me.
Yeah. I mean, like I feel like we were the last generation that like has like very vivid memories of like playing outside and like doing hood rat shit with our friends. Having a home phone and like having to like call a girl or whatever like past 9, so
10
it was
cents
free.
per text message.
Like even my dad though, like he was born in 1951. So like even then, like he has seen like a crazy amount of like technological advances in his lifetime. Like sometimes he'll talk about his childhood sometimes, and he'll literally talk about how like when they had their ranch in San Antonio that like they didn't have like an indoor bathroom, like they had a fucking outhouse. And I'm like, that's a wild concept. Like I was just like, I don't know if like that's because like it's a product of the times, or like that was because like that's what their finances allowed for. Like I feel like indoor plumbing has been a thing for a while, but he was on also like a farm type shit.
It's like a generational farm as well.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't even know. Well, no, because my dad is first generation. So my grandpa and grandma, they came from Mexico to here. My grandma died before I was his mom died before like I was even born, like a while before I was born, I think. And most of my memories of his dad were like after he'd had like a couple strokes, so like he wasn't really all there. He was like in a wheelchair. Like they're fond memories and shit like that, but it's nothing that I could ever. It's not like he was ever like sitting there telling me about his childhood and like about his life. It's more about like talking about like what is going on currently with a couple different like little tradition things that I found out. One of them I recently found out on TikTok that there's this leg bouncing thing that I always thought was specific to him, but it turns out it's just like a Hispanic thing, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like I always thought that was like.
I don't think that's a Hispanic thing. I think that's
an anxiety thing.
No, it's just a specific song that you sing when you bounce him on your lap. Like I thought the song like was a him specific thing, but like it turns out like that's just because it's not like even words. It's just like I'm not gonna do it because it's ridiculous. But it's just like.
I think the viewers would enjoy it.
No, I'm good. It's just noises.
How's the song go?
And I can't
Ding,
really
ding, ding,
remember.
ding,
Like,
ding,
I
ding.
have a very rough idea of what it sounds like. I'd have to hear it again. But yeah, it's really just kind of like mouth noises. So it's not
Mouth
quite
noises are
beatboxing,
mouth noises.
but-
That's general communication.
I think
noises.
words are just.
Yeah, just words. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, if I didn't have indoor plumbing growing up, I probably would have done crack by now, because there's no fucking way that I would ever be a normal human being if I didn't grow up with indoor
No.
plumbing.
I'm saying
That's
like
something
in
that's,
the
like,
dead middle of something like
Yeah.
August, and August shit, bro, sounds horrific.
Yeah,
Horrific.
like obviously at some
Texas,
point they had like
Absolutely not, bro.
plumbing and shit, but it's like it's because I think my dad grew up in like Houston and San Antonio, but like it is crazy to think about like even like in my childhood, which is like I was talking about with my tattoo artist today, is like drastically different from like today's childhood. Like in our day, like they were like, actively I would see kids playing outside and shit like that. And like today, it's much more like computer centric.
Oh, yeah,
like that, which is
100%.
totally cool because whatever. And I was talking to him. I brought that up because I was like, that made me feel like such an old man, being like, in my day, kids were outside. But I was just like, yeah, I was outside because that was all that I had to fucking do. Like literally, I had some balls and some friends.
Well, like,
Oh, you still
even
have those
whenever
balls,
I
yeah?
was a kid,
yeah, still have some of those
Even-
friends too.
even whenever I was a kid, it was like a mixture of both. Like, we would, like, growing up at my
Right.
grandma's, my uncle would have a garage. He'd have his garage, and like, it sounds creepy if you say it out loud, but he wasn't that guy, I swear. But he had a garage, and like all the neighborhood kids would come by, and we would like play basketball, football. But he'd also have like a big ass TV in there where he would have like 2 PlayStations, and we would just play. We would still be playing video games and stuff, but it would be outside. Like, I remember one of my favorite memories is like they had like this young oak tree in their front lawn. And so my dad at the time was working at Budweiser, and he had like these cool half tents. So we got both of them and like angled them so like they were somewhat covering the tree. And then we got like an extension cord and like carried a TV out to the tree and had a PlayStation out there. And we were just playing NFL Street outside on, but at the same time, like in that same summer, we had like an Olympics where we like did bike riding, where it was like around the neighborhood. We had a basketball tournament, a football tournament, a race and whatnot. And like I think my uncle and the next door neighbor was just like, whoever wins will buy you a brand new pair of shoes or some shit like that. But I mean, you just don't really see that anymore.
Right,
And
yeah.
we're slowly turning into boomers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
also,
Like, I
like-
literally like I had forts and shit with my friends. Like some of them were more lavish. Like one of our kids down the street, his stepdad like helped him build one and like attached it to their house and made sure there was an outlet in the fort. So like he had like a TV, and like we would bring our consoles out there, and it'd be cool to just like hang out there. We would do it like mostly in the winter for some reason. I don't fucking know why. But it's just like a fun thing that we would do. That like if I would suggest something like that to my nephew who is 12, he'd look at me like I have like 8 heads. He'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, shut up, boomer."
I feel like a lot of the neighborhoods now are like less kid, like habitable.
Yeah.
Is not the word I'm looking for, but we'll use it. Like
I wouldn't say-
remember growing up, like I grew up in a cul-de-sac, and everybody basically had a kid, and they were all like we were all around the same age, so we did a lot of the same things. Like I had a basketball goal in my front yard, and so we came over and played basketball, which I regularly cheated at because I had to make up the rules. Apparently, only kid thing. I don't know. But we played football.
we played
We
lots of
had like
sports.
a neighbor who didn't have kids. It was her and her brother. They were super fucking weird. They had a peach tree out front, and every summer, none of those peaches ever made it. Played baseball with them. Would hit them with tennis rackets, baseball bats, throw them at each other. It was the best. I feel like it's not like that anymore.
We gotta.
You don't see like a. Go ahead.
You gotta understand it's like a generational thing. So like I don't want to harp on it, but like you don't have kids yet, but you gotta understand like having kids and then going over the memories of myself and what I did as a child. Like that's shit that just would not be allowed as me as a parent.
Oh,
I
for
have
sure.
I have vivid memories of waking up and leaving at the crack of dawn. And this is before the time of cell phones. So you have to understand that I just left the house as a 10 and 11-year-old boy and was gone for 12 and 14 hours at a time with no communication. They have no idea what's going on. The fact that I could leave my house at 8 o'clock on a Saturday and come back when the sun comes down at 9:30 at night during the summer, and it's just been a solid 14 hours with zero communication from me. I don't know how my parents didn't. I guess because there was nothing. You know, you compare it now and then, so I have a point of reference. So it makes a difference that I know what it is like to have constant communication because it's available, and they didn't know anything else. But, you know, those type of days are when you build those memories. When, you know, the people that came to your grandpa's house, Drew, like, they were gone from their house for 10 hours at a time, right? Mm-hmm. And now I can't imagine just letting, like, Charlie's 7, so she's still a little young, but even in 3 years, I can't imagine just letting her leave the house at 8 or 9 in the morning and just saying, like, hey, I'm going over to Barbara's, and not seeing her until the sun goes down. That's insanity.
Also, I feel like, not to make it about gender, but you were a boy, right? You are a man. So, like, I feel like it might be a little bit different in the sense of, like, a parent protection role. Right, like you know, you have people will prey on, you know, any type of child sick, but you were little girls are more, you know, this is weird. Preyable.
A lot of creeps are.
You know what I'm talking about.
Vulnerable.
Thank you.
Vulnerable.
Preyable. I'm putting that on the t-shirt.
Nah. All right, I'm gonna resign from this podcast right now.
With a white truck with painted windows.
It's gonna be a QAnon shirt with a white truck in the middle, prayable underneath.
Right.
With an A though.
Hands.
Yeah.
No, and the truck has a pizza on it because the pizza gate. You know what I mean?
And then
Bro, we're already thinking about it.
In the back. Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like it definitely came down to something like that. Maybe like just in a mindset from your parents. You know, you're going to hang out with other boys. You know, you're gonna go do whatever with them. So I mean. I feel like also boys are just a handful at that age. Just like, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, you just
leave
want to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. My sister is one girl out of 4 children. So like my parents were definitely a bit different, or tried to be at least with her. She was extremely rebellious, so she pretty much just did whatever the fuck she wanted anyways. But they definitely like their parenting approach was definitely a bit different with her, and a lot of that like was because she was a girl. But at the same time, my parents are also aware that, like, hey, she's got 3 brothers, so, like, if she really has any problems, like, it's not going to be that much of a problem for, like, too long, I guess, or whatever. And, like, really, it's, like, only like, there have been a couple times where, like, she's had to call our oldest brother, and almost all of her boyfriends have cried about it. It's hilarious to see a grown man cry just, like, at the sight of, like, calling up another person. It's wild. It's, like, it's really more so telling in, like, her choice of man. So, Becca, if you're watching this, do better.
I mean, get off my TikTok feed also. Please and thank you.
Wait, she comes on your TikTok feed?
Yeah. Like, every single one of her posts comes through my TikTok feed. I send them to Nathan. So, yeah, Nathan, I've been sending them to you. I've been like, dude,
have you?
Yeah.
I see her. She shows up on my feed as well.
It's just because I think she's in my contacts, right? And
I think that's exactly what it is.
And it pulls through my contacts.
I guess so.
Yeah, because I see like only like 2 or 3 people that I know. Like I see like random sometimes, like I'll just randomly come across somebody that like I know of or maybe know personally. But
I feel like this is telling to like how long I've had a phone. But the other day, this is super weird as well. Hashtag prayable. I had a child come up on my TikTok feed, and it was a contact in my phone.
Prayable?
Listen, I'm not. Listen.
Disconnect Eric right now, please. He's got
So
children.
has anybody seen any good shows recently? I've been watching Arcane, and it's fucking good, bro.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso was
one of the best shows out, dude. Such a good show.
That's a very good show.
It almost made me start caring about like actual soccer for a second, but like
versus like fictitious soccer.
I just want to watch. Yeah, I realized I was like, I probably just want to watch more soccer movies or something. Like I don't.
You should watch Shaolin Soccer. If you haven't seen it, it's so good.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Green Street Hooligans is also a good soccer movie. If
yeah,
you've never seen
it is.
Just watch.
It's like a fighting movie with like I feel like there's one soccer scene in that whole movie. Like, and it's when
Which one?
when he's teaching the kids how to play, and Elijah Wood has to play keeper. I feel like that's the only scene where you actually see the
That's fair.
sport, the
I guess it's
sport
more
of
about
soccer
soccer
being played.
hooligans,
Yeah, it's just about
right?
fighting. Honestly, it's just about beating the shit out of each other.
And that's pretty cool.
Facts.
But no, seriously, I when I said that earlier, have you guys watched Arcane or even seen anything about Arcane?
I watched
watched,
the
like, 5
beginning
minutes
of
on
the
an
first episode, but
Yeah, same.
I was at work, so I couldn't get into it.
You guys. just
I've never
gotta
heard of
watch
it, so
when
you
get
should
a chance.
explain
I
it.
plan on watching
So-
it. Like, I don't see I can't get
Yeah.
into it.
It's based in the League of LOL.
Lol.
League of Legends, Legends of League of
That's-
Legends.
yeah, League of Legends,
I
yeah.
don't play it, so it's based off of that world. So going into it, I hadn't like, I'm not like looking at every detail or anything, but I've heard through several other podcasts and other shit that even if you don't know about like that universe, it's still a really good show, and
yeah.
it is a very good show. It's very well written, and I'm already like invested with like half the characters and whatever. And they're releasing it on Netflix, 3 episodes per week. So I think the final 3 episodes are getting released this week sometime. I don't
Riot
know
is
when, but when
super
they-
inclusive, and they have a ton of fucking money, so you know they're not gonna fuck it up.
Bro, and also watching this, the Riot game that I play the most is Valorant. Well, 3 of us play Valorant pretty regularly,
Right.
And it makes me like really want them to do this with Valorant because like there's a lot of lore there that is just like I feel like is super explorable, and I'm just waiting for them to be like, all right, we made our money on Arcane and League of Legends, let's go ahead and put some shit off of with Valorant or
Yeah.
something. man.
Before we
There's a
move
ton
off
of
that,
lore.
can we just like silently pray to the Netflix gods that they do not begin releasing weekly shows? That's my least favorite thing about Disney is that I hate that they release weekly.
Okay, so the thing about that, because I
did.
watch a lot of like media focused podcasts and like just like YouTube videos. I agree with you. I don't like the week by week, but it keeps their shows relevant. There's a reason why WandaVision was as good as it is. There's a reason why, I mean, Loki was just good. But like The Mandalorian was successful is because week by week, like after that first episode of Mandalorian season 1, everybody's like, holy shit, Baby Yoda. And then it was that for a whole week until we got another
It
episode.
definitely builds suspense.
Yeah, it really
And like
does.
one of the videos I was watching about, they brought up an example of Punisher season 2. Whenever that got released, or fucking Stranger Things, like whenever those get released that whole season, everybody binges it who's gonna watch it. It's talked about for 1 or 2 weeks,
That's it. You don't
and
hear
it's
about
like
it
it
for,
never existed.
until another season gets dropped. I haven't
Yeah,
heard
until they
anybody
announce
bring up
another
Punisher
season.
since the day it came out.
I
Even though
genuinely
it's
hope
good.
that if like Punisher eventually, I feel like he'll probably make his MCU debut. I really hope John Barenthal like gets to keep playing him because
He does a good job.
Like he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Granted, I know it will not be nearly as graphic as it was in the Netflix series.
Yeah, 100%.
But I still feel like he would do a really good job.
But what I do like what Netflix is doing, sorry, I just want to continue this real quick. What I do like what Netflix is doing is with Arcane and what they, I've done it with a couple other shows, but they release it 3 episodes. Oh, He-Man, I think they did it with as well. They release 3 episodes like periodically. So maybe it's week by week or maybe month to month. But it's like, so you have something that you can binge. And you have that period where you have that buzz and you're just like, what's going to happen with this character? Are they going to die? Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah.
And then you have those next 3 episodes. Because when I got to the end of the 6th episode, I was like, damn. But also, I don't know a lot of people that be watching it, so I don't really have anybody to talk to. So I'll just watch those YouTube videos by myself.
It's on my list of things to watch,
Yeah.
100%.
I'm not watching shit tomorrow, so I'll watch it tomorrow, I think.
It's pretty good.
I feel like
I
there's
mean,
something I've been meaning to watch, something else, but there's so much to watch and not watch at the same time. So
I really like, back to the Marvel Netflix, I really like most of the casting for like the Marvel shows that dropped on Netflix, like The Punisher. I loved the Luke Cage casting. I feel like was just
I really like
I
Jessica
didn't-
Jones.
and
I don't think I've
Daredevil.
watched that one. Daredevil, yeah.
He did such a good job at playing Matt Murdock.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in Spider-Man 3. Spoilers.
Super excited
Is that
for
the
that.
spoiler that
feel like
you
that's-
intentionally told me not to watch, and then you invisible inked it
Also, I feel
on
like
our
you
group
can't-
chat, and then you just dropped it in the middle of this podcast after I intentionally didn't reveal the invisible ink, so I didn't get the spoiler? Is that what you're
Also,
talking
that's not
about?
how spoilers work. You can't say it after you spoil it. You say spoiler and then
Fuck.
the spoiler.
I
let's
had
take it back real
like
quick.
I hovered my
I feel
finger
like for
over
this part, you
that photo like 3 different times that day. I was like, do I want to see this spoiler? Do I want to see it? No, he
dude, I have
invisible
zero
inked the whole
self-control.
conversation, so I
You
should
go
not
back and look,
invisible
maybe.
ink
Well,
this.
Now you know.
Fuck.
So,
Well, okay, he was
Well, I mean, we can't.
rumored to be in it. He was rumored to be in it. It's not confirmed. Those could be fake video or fake. It's not a video. It's 2 pictures.
it definitely
Those
could
could be
be.
fake pictures because they are still like not saying anything about who's casted in it. All the promotional footage is like strictly like just like straight to the plot, like giving us like a literally a peep eye view.
He's denied it
of what's going on in
vehemently
that
as
movie.
well, and apparently like his friends have called him out
Everybody
like,
has.
publicly and like privately, and he's talked about that as well. Like his friends were pissed because it was like this is like not the first leak of him being in the film. And the first one, like his friends were fucking livid. They were like, "I can't believe you wouldn't tell me about this." And he was like, "I it's fake. Like I'm not in the movie."
Well,
Yeah, it's like also legally, I can't say shit to
Yeah,
you
true.
about
yeah,
shit.
it's an
like,
NDA from
NDA for
Disney.
sure,
You don't
yeah.
fuck with
you
Disney.
don't fuck with the
Don't
mouse,
fuck with
brother.
Facts. That gives me very South Park vibes.
I'm coming for your house.
Well, he wouldn't have an NDA
and,
from
like-
Disney if he wasn't in the movie. Like you can't get
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
what
have
I'm
someone
saying.
sign an NDA for not being in the movie. I mean,
It's
just
like-
it's a double.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like either way, like he,
and he could
yeah.
be in an NDA or he could just not be in the movie at all. So
Yeah.
I guess
like
we'll
even
find
whenever
out in
he's-
December.
Even whenever he's asked
Also
about it,
Sony,
he
I
never
guess.
straight up just says no, I'm not in it. He goes like he'll say something like, I mean, I really like the character. Like he did like that OJ book where it's like if I did do it,
This is
like
how I do
in
it.
because like in one of the interviews he's had, they're like, are you going to be in Spider-Man 3? And he was just like, I don't know if I'm in it or not. They haven't, like the Andrew Garfield defense, I don't know if I'm in it or not. Like they haven't talked to me or anything. But then he like went on to go like be like, but if I was in the movie, it would be a reimagining of the character that's based off of the show, rooted off of the show, but they would try to explore other things. And it's just like, if I was just like, listen, I swear I didn't take a piece of cake, but if I did, I would try to take a cake slice small enough to where you couldn't see that I've already taken a piece of cake because other people have taken the cake.
Which
Like,
is
it's just-
also like you mentioned Andrew Garfield. There's an interview with him where I guess there's some game called Werewolf or some shit where I guess it's similar to like imposters or whatever. Like you're trying to convince or
Among Us?
like Secret Hitler.
yeah, like that one. And so you're just trying to convince everybody that you're not the bad guy. And so he does an interview where he's just like, I feel like I'm playing this game where I'm trying to tell everybody I'm not the fucking werewolf. And they're like, you're the werewolf, but like, I'm really not the werewolf. And I'm like, I watched that and I was like, this guy's the fucking werewolf.
Yeah,
like,
and
I've
then
never
on
even played
December
this game,
18th
but this guy's the fucking werewolf for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
And then on December 18th, the day after the movie comes out, he's just going to post a werewolf on Instagram after we
Imagine.
all seen him in it.
That'd be
That'd be
crazy.
great.
That'd be
watch
That'd
there
awesome
be like
for sure.
a multiverse fucking Spider Wolf.
There's also an interview with Andrew Garfield that just came up. I almost said Andrew Garfunkel. Who like some chick was just like, so yeah, I heard that you're in Spider-Man 3, and he's just like, what? Like so unconvincingly, to where it's just like if you ever seen,
So they just see like a hitman in
Yeah.
the back with a gun at her, like the camera cuts off.
I don't know. I think
Actually, it's just like a Mickey Mouse hands.
I think it could go either way because you got to think like if I was not in the movie and I was getting a lot of spotlight as a famous person for not being in the movie, I would pretend like I'm pretending that I'm not in the movie to continue to be in the limelight. Like, what's the last thing that Andrew Garfield was even in? Can you even
Well, I
like
think
if
he does a
you're
lot
getting all of
stage
this
plays.
press because of this? The smartest thing to do is to continue to do whatever
100%.
it takes to stay in the limelight, right?
Yeah.
So that you continue to get press, right? And these guys are professional actors, right? These aren't Joe Blows off the street. Like 100%, all of the stuff on Tom Holland with the fake leaks, I am under the impression, this is in my opinion, it's 100% planned. He is a great actor. That's 100% him acting like he's leaking things because it generates a lot of hype. He 100% has permission. There is no way that he is a successful Hollywood actor that can't keep his mouth shut. I don't think so. I think 100% of the time he is such a good actor that he saw how it generated hype and then created a thing.
Right, but he's also still like a child almost.
100%.
No, he's not. He's like 24.
But even at 18,
Spider-Man
I can keep a
how
secret. You know, if someone asked me a question, I could be like, no.
Dude, so you're saying if you in your early 20s, if you landed the role, especially as Spider-Man, and somebody asked you about it, like, obviously contractually you're obligated to say no, but you don't think that would be like a hard secret to keep?
Also, you got to think about there's people who
like
can't lie for shit. Like,
that's like a whole thing about Peter Parker in general. It's hard for him to not be like, oh, I'm fucking Spider-Man. This shit sucks. Help. Like, it's hard.
Yeah, Tom Holland's 25-year-old. That's an adult.
Yeah, and
that's
when
a full
did
adult.
the first Spider-Man come out, though?
It was probably like 3 or 4 years ago, so he was like 21.
I mean, it's something we'll never know, so I don't think we should debate it too
even
much.
then, like 21-year-old me versus like 28-year-old me is a drastically
But also,
human being.
I feel like the reason why they haven't straight up just been like, yes, all 3 Spider-Men are in this movie is because I saw a tweet or something that said, like, what happens if these images got leaked? And it was a image of Captain America holding Mjolnir and then Tony about to snap.
Right.
It's like, this is what you guys are doing to the movie. You're spoiling to the movie.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's what Sony and Marvel are trying to do, is they're trying to have that moment in the theaters again whenever Cap does get the Mjolnir, because I didn't know that going into the movie. I think I saw it like 3 days after it came out.
Yeah.
I didn't know it came in the movie, and it was fucking hype. It was cool as shit.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do, is whenever Toby and Andrew finally come on screen, everybody's going to go insane. But to play devil's advocate, that's going to happen regardless. I want to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man one more time. Like, that was a Spider-Man I grew up with. You know
specifically
what I mean?
emo Tobey. If he doesn't dance,
as long as I was about to say, as long as he's not dancing, bro.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it's a definitely like. I was gonna say it was definitely like, yeah, it's definitely a good marketing thing.
Yeah.
Generates buzz and shit.
either way, whether it's true, whether it's not, I think all of the information that has been released has been planned, right? Because you can keep stuff under wraps. It's just a thing you can do, right?
I honestly don't think you can these days.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, even with like, I'm not so much into it now, but like I was pretty into wrestling for like a while, and even then, like, it was hard to keep like wrestler like big returns and shit like a genuine secret, because like people on Twitter people on Reddit of just trying to like, people like to spoil stuff, but I don't necessarily think it's like spoiling. I like to think that like people like to feel like, I fucking figured it out, I told you so. That type of mentality leads to that type of shit.
Well, see, I think you're looking at a different perspective than I am. The perspective that I'm thinking of under wraps is that literally the way that the internet works right now is that everything is going to be a theory. My point of reference to this thought is, if you look at the iPhone, everything that happened on the iPhone was leaked, but just because it was a real leak doesn't mean it's what caught traction. There was multiple things that was confirmed leaks by multiple huge name Apple people, like the satellite calling and all of this bullshit, like that. You don't get to pick what catches traction, right? So everybody is going to suggest, the amount of people that have a voice on the internet right now, every single plausible event and even non-plausible eventualities are going to be out there. They're going to be on the internet, and the ones that get traction are the ones that the public enjoy, right? And so there's no way to control what the public is going to grab onto as reality, because every single eventuality is going to be out there.
Right.
That's my perspective on it, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, just going off how you said, like, it's easy, or it's not hard to keep things at a wrap. I was just gonna say that, like, everybody has a
opinion.
I don't know how many megapixels. Well, everybody has a camera and a phone.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like on big sets, you're not allowed to have your phone and shit. But I mean, it's also what Nathan said. It's like everybody wants to be like, it's like everybody has a paparazzi mentality. So if you see something, you immediately want to capture it and then put it out there and be like, "Hey, look what I found."
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, unfortunately for those people, like, usually if they leak something successfully, because I'm pretty sure, like, some of the Spider-Man stuff has just been leaked by random, like, film cast and shit. Like, I did see there was one thing where, like, Mexico's Instagram released, like, a weird trailer thing, and then there was another one where a stunt double posted a picture, and then, like, both of those were quickly deleted or whatever, but there's nothing really gets deleted from the internet regardless. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things where, like, you're not going to be everybody, like Drew said, everybody has a cell phone. You can't control, like, it's going to be anybody that's going to release it. It's like Tom Holland, maybe that's planned, but like there's other stuff where people are going to want to be a little sleuthy about, I guess, to want to say that they did, and then that person ends up losing their job because it's like, well, you're confirmed to have leaked this information, so enjoy your small, like, minutes of fame. And then
I think it's way more severe than that. I think the NDAs that are signed by, like, maybe not on small scale stuff, but you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in the movies. I bet the NDAs that every single person has to sign on that is literally fines that would put you. I mean,
I've literally read like spoilers on like Reddit and shit for like Marvel movies, and then I've seen the movie and I'm like, oh, I read that on Reddit, and like that actually happened, and it's like, that information came from somewhere. It didn't come from, like, they weren't just guessing. For some of it, it's like crazy specific information. So like that, even to that, like that, I feel like that even goes to my point even further, where it's just like you're gonna have people on 4chan and people on Reddit where like that is more or less completely anonymous. So you can do whatever the fuck you want, say whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter if you signed an NDA if they can't link you to the account in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's with what Kyle was saying, was you probably get fined out of your ass, and then if you're working in the industry, you'll probably get blacklisted, like 100%. Out the wazoo.
But I mean, you probably think, like, people who leak things will potentially, to cover their own ass, they might hand the information off to somebody else, or they'll verbally or
paid leaks. I feel like are a real thing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, leaks are a real thing. My thing is, like, you're looking at it the wrong way. You're thinking about how easy it would be for someone to leak something. But if someone made you sign a document, a legally binding contract that said, hey, if we are able to track something to you, we're going to fine you $500,000. You're not going to tell your friend about it. Like, no matter how anonymous you think it's going to be. No, like, I mean,
have you ever illegally downloaded music? Isn't that like the big thing?
That's
like,
different,
it's like
though.
Crazy. It was supposed to be crazy.
I would download a car. I would download a car.
That's what you sound like.
That's like a
Would you download a car?
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, and like that's trackable, and anybody does that. Like it's one of those things where like
word of mouth is something that they can never prove. So I mean, you got to think about the hundreds of people that are on set. There's no way that if I was on a Disney set and there's hundreds of people around and I'm seeing something and I'm like, hey. Hey, this is
and like, how do you even place an actual?
If they find out who that person was that leaked it, it just takes several social media searches to be like, oh, he's friends of whatever, and then you're gonna get grilled and just to save money and save their.
I'm not gonna tell my closest friend to be like, hey, post this on your public account, right? If I wanted something out there, clearly the people have contacts, they have the channels, they have the means. There's
my thing is, if look, you gotta understand, I know how much these people make, bro. Like
we've all been doing it.
If you make $20 an hour, you're not going to risk a $100,000 fine and then set up with your buddy for him to set up a fake 4chan account to leak this shit. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like you're not going to go through a great
conspiracy theory.
You're overestimating the fuck out of these people, bro.
No, I think you're overestimating the links they'll go to not be caught. I'm telling you.
Nowadays, it's super easy to do anything. There's no way that I'm posting on like anything.
I said though, I've read tons of spoilers and. Some of the people are like recurring like people that like get accurate.
I bet you
spoilers,
if you gave me 3 days, I could find somewhere to post. I could find somebody to post on the internet anonymously on my behalf for however much, $2, $20.
That's not my point. My point is if that information had the risk of $100,000 fine, there's no way you take that for no credit. You have nothing to gain from that.
You are
as a
assuming people are telling, hey, will you release this information? Also, if we get caught, it's $100,000.
no, I'm saying if Eric is the person with the information, he just said that he could spend 2 hours to find the information, right? Eric Patterson gets no gain.
No such from leaking my fucking full government, right? Like that's a whole thing. Like, you're doing that?
We're not gonna give our full names out.
I feel like we probably already
have. We ever?
Well, your name's Eric Pat 11.
2 full episodes of us record. I mean, I get that, but like,
damn, I mean, I don't get why we wouldn't. We don't want people to know who we are.
Reynolds, thank you.
Yeah, Kyle Reynolds, 100%.
He literally had, "What's up, YouTube?"
Like, I want to be famous, right? You know what I'm saying? Get my name out there.
Yeah, like either way, I'm just saying, like, I feel like I have read enough like spoilers to know that like people don't care as much as you think that they do about like getting in trouble for giving out spoilers. Like at the end of the day, like
agree to disagree
on
this.
How much can you really like? I mean, important people care, yes, but I'm saying like random people. Like I see enough shit on Reddit and enough shit on like random shit on the internet in general. It's hard to go on TikTok after a movie has been posted or been out or in production without going and seeing spoilers and shit.
Well, I'm not saying that there's not spoilers. Like you can't, like if you shoot a scene on a city street, right? You can't control the skyscraper.
Also, I'm saying like
for there to be set shit. Like there's no way that a dude that makes $20 an hour is gonna risk his job and a crazy fine off an NDA to anonymously release a fucking spoiler. That makes no sense.
So then explain any of the Spider-Man spoilers that have come out then.
I mean, most of the Spider-Man movies are shot outside. I'm not saying spoilers don't exist. That's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that it's not from inside the cast. Like, it's not inside the production team because that doesn't make any sense. Nobody would risk that.
I'll give you Kyle, because even sitting here thinking about it, if I wanted to create a lot of buzz, like has already happened with the Spider-Man movie, I would leak the photos that did get leaked and be like, yeah, no, I don't know what those are. And everybody's like, but these look so real. Right. And then you have, the 15 YouTube channels that are popular, all, pumping out free advertisement left and right for your movie.
It's like Valorant. It's like planned leaks. Yeah. They leak their shit before the season drops on purpose. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like, I don't think anybody I'm not saying it's never happened, but in this day and age, there's crazy non-disclosures out there, and I don't think people are breaking them. There's no reward. Everything that you do is a risk reward. It's even like sitting at a stoplight in the middle of the night, right? You're not just gonna drive through that stoplight. It doesn't matter if you look around and there's no cops. There's no reward that's worth the
fuck out of here. I'm not fucking. You got the light on fucking.
No cop, no stop, Kyle.
I'm saying off of Sublet and 280.
First of all, the only time I'm driving at night, I'm drunk anyway. So I'm
running the absolute piss out of that light, bro. There's no shot I'm not.
So Kyle, what's this? This isn't just like trying to be like, hey, give me information so the viewers can hear it. What's Scorpion Storm? I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
go ahead, Kyle.
Very recently, in Egypt, there was a very large sandstorm that...
Wait, Scorpion King's real?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to reference that, and you should definitely put this scene up where the Scorpion King's up. But this giant sandstorm, it was huge, and it displaced thousands of scorpions. And first of all, I want to just give a little shout out to the name of these scorpions. These are fat tail scorpions, right? These are thick with 2 C's scorpions.
They got them thick tails.
They got them fat tails, bro. But they are extremely poisonous, right? So there's this giant sandstorm in Egypt that just displaced thousands of scorpions, right? And so they're just looking for shelter, essentially, right? So they're just swarming these populated areas. 450 people were hospitalized and several people died from scorpion stings. They were COVID-19 is like the biggest, craziest pandemic right now. They're literally rededicating COVID vaccine centers to anti-poison centers to help not have people die from these scorpions.
Bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know
This
these
thing is,
Bible
like,
thumpers have
bad.
had a field day with this,
Right.
bro.
Yeah, this thing is
Dude,
like,
I bet you
Wait!
the crazy lady that I used to work with is losing her shit about that.
their poison is so potent. Like if it goes untreated completely, it can kill you within an hour. Like it's
Jesus.
more poisonous than like the top 5 under one spiders in the world. Like it's shit's insane, bro. Like a rattlesnake
really-
will kill you in like 6 hours. This fat tail scorpion, because his tail's thick, he's killing you in one, and like it's crazy. I read some of the side effects, and it's like you can have seizures from that shit. Like just straight like muscle atrophy. Like you can just paralyze. It's paralysis. It's nuts, bro.
Just looking at a picture of them, they literally like they just look so alien. Like it's crazy that that's a real thing that exists. It's
Honestly,
it's a I don't know. Like I mean, I guess it looks like a deviant fucking spider. Like
I want
It
to.
looks like what I would imagine a scorpion just looks like normally, but they do got a thick.
no, I
tail,
just mean
bro.
like scorpions in general just look
Facts.
like spiders that have evolved.
They're
into
arachnids,
be
aren't they?
Specifically fucking.
Yeah.
No,
but
they only have 6
yeah,
legs.
I think so. Oh, do they?
Yeah.
There's something pods.
Either way,
Septipods,
no,
I
they
think.
have 8 legs. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they have 8 legs.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
tripping.
No,
but
they're
yeah.
fucking.
I have giant arachnophobia, but that's because I've had experience
That
with
would be arachno-
spiders. But I think that if we grew up in an area prevalent
Chills.
with scorpions, there was no shot that I'm not more scared of scorpions than I am of spiders.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, spiders are just like the first
They are
first
arachnids.
evolution in a
Predatory
in a,
arachnids.
The
Like,
Charizard.
Pokemon version of
big
real
upgrade,
life.
Yeah.
Hashtag, what was it? Pray, whatever.
Oh, prayable.
Prayable. God damn.
Yeah, man.
That's the title of our episode. Little girls are prayable.
Sorry about that.
Rip.
But yeah, no, I'm with you on the spiders. I don't know what it is. Like, I could do small spiders, and like, I even think the little fuzzy ones are actually pretty cute. But like, if they're small
Jumping
and they
spiders.
jump, I'm over it. Fucking
The
get it
jumping
out of here.
spiders
Yeah.
are the
I'll
ones
burn
that
the
are
whole
fuzzy and
house down.
small.
Sometimes, but like, I remember there was one time I was driving and there was a spider on like my windshield, or not windshield, like my window, and I went to like kind of get it out of the way, and it jumped, and I almost crashed my car.
I've heard stories about people doing that, like trying to brush off a spider, like in their car. And I heard one story about a guy who brushed off a spider and it busted, and all of its eggs hatched.
Oh, get the no! I would that in that instance, I would
I'm
like.
crashing, yeah,
There's
100%.
there's no way I'm not crashing my car. Like just thinking about that, I want to flip my computer over and run out
Yeah.
of the room. Like
I had a
absolutely
big
not.
wolf spider in my garage. Is that like I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago? Like it was like a thing. I had seen like 5 or 6 of them, and a couple of them got caught in the glue traps, and I cut them in half in the glue traps because I don't deal with that shit. So,
it.
but there was one.
Get one of those
that
fucking
was just-
salt guns.
There was one that was in the garage, and it was like not in a glue trap, and it was the biggest one by far, and it was probably every bit of the size of like the bottom of like this, right? Like that's a pretty decent size, right? Like that. So I have weights in my garage where I work out. If you can't tell, rock hard body. So I took a 5-pound weight because it was the only thing I could find. I'm gonna take a second to appreciate the flex. I smashed it with the 5-pound weight. And then I looked at it and I was like, that's not enough. So I got my fucking blowtorch that I use for my smoker and just cooked that motherfucker off for a minute. Well done.
Yeah.
And then I brushed it out in the garage, in the driveway. And then I was like, something in the back of my head was like, it's still not dead. So I started my car, backed over it, rolled back over it. And then I swept it out into the street.
Yeah, I'm with Kyle, Kyle and Nathan, or mainly Nathan. I like the little cute little jumping spiders where they like wave or whatever.
Yeah,
They're
cute.
adorable.
So cute.
But like I think I was watching, like I was scrolling through TikTok and I came across a TikTok live where all it was the bottom half of a spider. And like, so it was like the bottom half and like a little bit of the back butt and then the legs and then the fangs. So like the top half, the soft part of the spider was just not there. And just even looking at that, I was getting chills. Like I sat there and watched it, and like you saw like the holes that go into the legs, and he was like, "Oh," and then on this other side, and he flipped it over, and I saw the fangs. I was like, "Nope, swipe it up,
Dude,
no
like-
more of that shit, bro."
Like seeing the videos of even with crabs too, seeing the videos of spiders and crabs like molt and like come out of their skin is like, enough to
It's
make me
interesting.
want to
High-speed footage.
explode
Like,
my
I will.
phone. Like, it's interesting, I guess, but like, I enjoy the taste of crab, but looking at crabs gives me the same kind of ick that looking at a spider does, because it's just a
Yeah.
fucking sea spider, literally all it is, hard fucking armor spider.
Wonder.
And they run weird, and they've got their fucking alien mouths, bro. Like,
Yeah,
no, I don't-
crabs do have like a really grotesque
they're
looking
fucking
mouth.
like, if I saw a giant crab, I would shit my pants.
If and when
Like-
I ever move out to the country, I'm just gonna have a 12 gauge, my 12 gauge just on hand anytime I see a spider, because I can't
Just
shoot
for
a
critters.
spider in my neighborhood
Newsflash:
currently.
most people in the country do just have their 12 gauge on hand.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100. I mean, I live in the city and it's kind of on hand-ish, but yeah, no, it's gonna be on hand specifically for that. Like, I'm just gonna be like, I don't like that's a tarantula. Oh nah, bro, gotta just burn the whole thing down and just blast it.
Yeah, we've had a hornet's wasp nest outside of our front porch for a while. We just keep forgetting to, like, everybody that lives here just keeps forgetting to buy poison about it. But like, there was a night where me and Drew both like thought about like different ways to kill him. Drew's way, I believe, was getting a solo cup and spraying.
Let me explain this. Okay, so you have a solo cup, right?
Yeah.
And I have pressurized air like in a can. So I was just like, I'll cut a tiny hole so I can stick the straw in the hole of the cup, the bottom of the cup, and I'll trap them so they can't go anywhere. And then I'll like shake it up beforehand and it'll be upside down anyways, and I'll just freeze them. Because if you have pressurized air and you turn it upside down, it's basically just like a
Liquid nitrogen,
nitrogen.
Yeah, it's liquid nitrogen. So I was like, I'll just freeze them and then we'll just kill them. I didn't realize that the top part of our awning or whatever is like rigid. Like it's like it goes up and then down, up and down, up and down. So if I'd done that, I just would have high pressured aired wasp just outwards from the cup and then would have been engulfed by wasps. But that reminds me,
I almost didn't tell him. Like, I kind of wanted to see it happen, but I was just like,
well, by the time I would have got up there, I'd been like, wait a second. But that
Something's not
reminds
right
me.
here.
hopefully.
So we have a tiny one, probably like the nest is probably like as big as this jewel or this enjoy, like literally this like same size and shape of this, and that's right next to the door. Further back on our front awning, there was a much larger.
Probably like
It was
softball.
it was like softball size. Like it was big. And like growing up, like when people destroy wasp nests, I was like, wasps don't really fuck with you unless you, well, at least when they're like nesting. Wasps are assholes otherwise. But when they're nesting,
Right.
they don't really fuck with you unless you fuck with them. They just are doing their thing. It's like, we gotta get these babies out. Boom. Well, that one was big. And on this day, it was windy. I had actually just bought these headphones. And I pulled up, got out of my car,
Not recent.
got to the door, very recent.
Yeah.
Just got to the door, putting like literally finding my key and about to put it into the lock, and then I just hear like this organic smack behind me. Like something like bounced off of the ground. I turn around, notice that the softball size hornet's nest is no longer where it is, and I see it doing a second bounce towards the sidewalk, and then I just see like the cartoon like swirl of shit, and I was like, oh shit. So I just slammed my key into there, got open, and like slammed the door. Like I swear I saw like one like coming straight towards me, like a fucking movie.
It probably
Get him!
was.
Yeah, I slammed the door, and then his brother's like playing Sea of Thieves, these nuts fit in your mouth, and he like just turns around, and he's just like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like literally out of breath because I was petrified. I was like, "You might not want to go outside."
Oh, I was
Bro.
petrified. No, but the thing about spiders for me is like I can deal, like even talking about the cute cuddly spiders and even really just insects in general.
Right.
I can deal with them, but it puts me in a mood, right? So I'll give you a perfect example. I was just taking a shit, scrolling TikTok as it was, right?
Of course.
Nice.
And so I have in a closed bathroom, right? So the door closes, and I'm in a rectangle with the toilet, and that's all there is. It's a pretty tight space. So I'm there. I'm scrolling TikTok, right? And I come across this TikTok where there's this giant spider, probably Australia, because it's oversized, in the corner, right? And the dude's trying to suck it up with a vacuum, right? And so he's sucking it up, and he's like, the spider's here, and it's scurrying, and there's a voiceover, right? So the voiceover is talking to the spider, like, oh, no, right? And so I'm sitting here, and I'm watching this, right? And so
know where this is going.
this kind of shit puts me in a mood, right? So it just kind of puts you in a state of mind, right? And
Put
so
you on edge, man. Or
I'm
puts me on
sitting
edge,
on the
at least.
toilet, pants around my ankles, right? Watching this video. Something tickles my fucking leg, and I'm just like, oh, fuck! I look down, it's just the toilet paper. There was a little bit of breeze. It's rubbed against my leg
That's
here.
not where I thought this was
But
going. I thought it was going to be like those jump scares on TikTok, you know, where, like, it's just like
No.
a random thing. I
Dude, those
definitely
ones
have
get me
seen one of
all the
those.
time.
it was the same
for
effect,
sure.
dude. It was 100% the same reaction of what would happen,
9
dude.
out of 10 times, I'm looking at my TikTok, and I have good vision, but for whatever fucking point, like, my phone's like right here. Like, it's close. And then they're always like
Right.
super far away, or it's super like pixelated in the jump scares. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And 10 out of 10 times, I almost throw my phone. It's definitely a hard jerk away
Yeah.
or a flinch back.
Or it's
I always feel like such an idiot too. I'm like, it's
yeah,
it's a phone.
because it's
man.
always like the ones where it's just like something interesting or like a scene, and you're like, all right, so what am I looking for? And you like focus more, and then it's like one of the ones where like they're behind the batter, and then they like swing the ball or swing at the ball, and it bounces up and hits the screen. Every time, just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always
It's
just
like,
happy that
what?
there's no one around to witness that. Like,
But to Kyle's point about being put in a mood, I feel like Drew and Aaron, my other roommate, also my brother, might always just be constantly in that mood. I've got a habit, and I've had it since like I was a kid. Like I've done it to my parents and like since growing up. But like I just have a habit of scaring people around the corners. Like sometimes I would genuinely wait for them to come out of the bathroom if I'm walking by and I see like the light turn off under the door. I'll just stand there and wait for him to open it so I can scare him to the point where like sometimes I'm just walking and they'll see me and be like, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like
That's
just
mainly
existing. Yeah,
mainly
it's
Aaron.
mostly
But
Aaron.
I will say because of it, sometimes whenever like I've been in the bathroom for too long and like I know you're in here, when I open the door, I swing my arm out nut level. So if you are standing there and you are trying to scare me, I'll get the last laugh.
It's funny that you say that because it's different. But when we had our last house, when I would be leaving the bathroom and going into my room, I would always throw a punch at that roommate's face level just in case he walked into the hallway at that time, and I could be like, "Oh, sorry, I just watched Rocky" or something.
That roommate. Way to keep
yeah.
anonymity.
Nathan's just gonna start
Bro,
carrying a
fuck
cactus
that
nut
guy.
level, bro.
Yeah, fuck that guy with a cactus. But yeah, like, and like, I do it as well. Like sometimes my brother will come in here while we're gaming to like ask us a question or whatever, and like I can see reflections in the side of my PC right next to me, and so like sometimes I'll see those and get a little startled because I'm like, fuck, there's somebody else in the room with me, and like I have my headphones on and I can't hear. Sometimes it's just my brother, and like I think it's probably like a deep-seated like I am expecting like their revenge or something, because they
Retaliation,
definitely get me back at times for sure. Yeah,
That do be happening. I mean, I feel like
it's just
should
such
we
a
call it
thrill.
here? It's been like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel like we should call it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. That was, I guess, episode 1 or 2.
Two?
I don't
It's
know.
officially
At one,
Last
we're gonna
episode.
call it one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the audio quality was
1.5.
much more quality.
Agreed.
Yeah. I hope
Much
you guys
more
enjoyed
quality.
it.
Love it.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Kenobi the Shinobi. I stream Tuesday and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central. I'm going to keep on spamming that until I get some viewers.
My
Anybody else have
Twitch
anything
link
else?
will be right
Yeah.
here. Thank you, Drew, for editing this in advance. Right here, twitch.tv
Okay, wow.
/EricPad11.
It's out of work for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I will
Like, one
be at
second.
home.
But yeah, this was me, Eric, Nathan, and Kyle.
Why don't you,
hope you guys enjoyed it?
Why don't you prop
What?
up a little bit of the Spacebar podcast social medias like the Instagram, the Twitter,
Oh,
the
yeah.
YouTube?
Here's the Instagram.
Even though we haven't really posted anything on those yet, but yeah, I think Eric, what are our links?
They'll be posted in the chat down below. It's
Wow, imagine having
always
somebody be
gonna
like,
be-
I'm all about social media, but I don't know our handles. Yeah, they're on the screen. I'll do the work. Fuck you. All right, guys.
Bye,
Y'all have a good
guys.
time. You have a good time. Bye.